Welcome to Terrific Talk. I'm Tom Anderson. Beautiful sunny day here from the Hoboken Studios in New Jersey. Thanks for checking out the Terrific Talk podcast here on the CLNS Radio Network. Great to be with you. Let's be honest, these NBA playoffs, not off to a great start. A lot of sweeps. There hasn't been a lot of drama. Some teams are banged up. Really the only series worth talking about right now to me is the Wizards and Celtics. We'll get to that series in a little, but right now, I want to introduce to you a great guest. Julie Donaldson is a sports anchor for Comcast SportsNet Mid-Atlantic down in Washington, D.C. She's been with Comcast since 2010 and has worked in some of the nation's top markets, including Boston, New York City, and Miami. She's a real pro. It's great to have her on today. Let me bring her in here. Julie Donaldson, welcome to Terrific Talk.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Honored to be here, and it's been some great stops for me along the way, and DC has been a good home for me over the last 6-7 years.
Love DC. I went to school down at American University. It's great town.
Oh, all right. That's just down the road from us.
Exactly. So I want to start from the beginning. Where did you grow up, and when did you realize you wanted to be a sports broadcaster?
So I am from Florida, although my parents are from Michigan. They met at Western Michigan in Kalamazoo, and once they got together, they decided that they didn't like the cold weather, wasn't a fan of all the coats and the snow tires, and so they decided to just pack the car and head to Florida. So I was saved from all of that weather, born and raised in Jacksonville. I'm a proud Gator, went to the University of Florida, and began my career in Miami, and have just been climbing and loving what I do ever since then. I knew early on that I always wanted to be in this business, that I always wanted to be on the anchor desk. I didn't necessarily know the exact capacity, but as I kind of, grew and developed, it just was a natural fit to go into sports. It really became a simple option, and I've been very fortunate to have as long of a career and worked in as many great markets and big markets that I have.
What do you think is the best advice that you can offer young broadcasters listening to this podcast?
It's all about your passion. Someone once told me, so many people nowadays, they have jobs. And I was very fortunate that my job was my passion. And I'm sure, as you can attest to in this business, it's not easy. It's not always glamorous. It's not, people tend to think, oh, it's fantastic. You get to, go cover the Yankees or go cover the Nationals. Or, I was in the locker room when the Celtics won in 2008. And while those moments are very rewarding, there's a lot of moments in between that challenge you and try you. And, it can be easy to kind of quit on the business because it can be discouraging, and there's a lot of no's, and a lot of people have to fight out of your nights, your weekends. But if it's your passion, it becomes easier to stay with it. And if you stay true to yourself, it becomes very rewarding. So when someone told me no, and I've been told numerous times no, I never gave up because I believed in myself and I loved what I did, and I knew that somewhere that would pay out.
You've done a lot of live television over your career. Anything can happen in live television. Do you have any funny stories of something just going completely wrong and you kind of having to fix it?
Let's see. The first thing that comes, well, there's probably quite a few. The first thing that comes to mind that would be a little more humorous is I was on the sidelines at a Giants pregame doing a live report for SNY up in New York. And, you turn your back to the field and you hope that somebody's kind of got an eye out for you, but you're focused in on what you're talking about on your camera, you're live. And two incidences happened to me in this situation. One, my IFB was almost like electrocuting me, and it got me live on air that I got totally rattled. I think I screamed and jumped because I don't know what hit me. Blood's rushing. I'm just sweating, and, blood rushes right to my head. Lost my train of thought, but then you get back on. That was kind of a little alarming. And another time I had a football just smash me right in the back on my
God.
TV. Like, you can't turn your back to the field, but that's how the game goes. And probably the first time I ever went live, you have crutch words, and I think I probably said, whatever my crutch word was at the time, probably 20 times in a matter of a minute. So, live TV is it's something that takes a little bit of an art form and then just getting used to and repetition, but it's my favorite thing in the world. If I have a choice of pre-taping something or going live, man, we want to go live. There's nothing like it.
Busy time for you right now and in Washington. We've got Wizards Game 5 tonight, the Capitals Game 7 tonight, the Orioles and Nationals are playing each other. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of take us through what your day is like preparing for all this?
I don't know. We were just talking, have there been bigger days in the district for our teams. And a lot of guys were kind of arguing that you'd have to go back to when the Redskins were winning the Super Bowl, that there was probably so much going on or so much excitement for one particular day. The Caps and the Wizards actually played on the same day a couple years ago. Unfortunately, both lost their games and ended up losing their series. But, it's exciting. You're reading everything about the Caps and what's coming out of there, the excitement, the confidence, the nerves, because we've all seen what happens to them before. They can't get out of the second round, and we know what the Pens like to do, and the Caps don't have the best record in Game 7s, even at home. So while there's a lot of confidence the way that they've played the past few games here, there's still some apprehension and nerves are high. As far as the Wizards, this team is on a roll, but they haven't won in Boston, and they haven't been able to figure that out. Even when they've had the lead and outplayed them in Boston, they seem to find some way to blow it up there. So, again, I think everybody's a little bit tempered. And then with the Nationals and the Orioles playing, it's just, you need to start TV. Fortunately, I work in a place where there's no shortage of TVs, but, typically when it comes to a night like tonight, you got people cheering all over the newsroom and at different stages, and you're trying to figure out which one for. So it's exciting. This is what we live and breathe and work so hard for.
You mentioned the Wizards having a tough time winning in Boston. What do you think they have to do to get a win and potentially a Game 7 in Boston in this series?
Oh, nobody really wants here to have them go to Game 7. They tend to think their chances are better of winning Game 5 than a Game 7 in Boston, because that home crowd always comes into play. We've got a lot of guys that haven't been into the postseason. For 7 of them, this is their first postseason. Hopefully a lot of those nerves have been worked out, but you've seen that really come into play on our bench, and they've struggled when we've been away. And, we need our role players to step up. Bradley Beal, he finally came out and put up some points in the last game, but he's kind of been relatively silent throughout this. Their defense, it's been a bit spotty here or there. They haven't necessarily committed to it the past few games. They were able to commit to it and seem to kind of figure the Celtics out and how to take Isaiah Thomas out of it. Hopefully they continue that game plan and that effort on both sides of the court and, give Isaiah Thomas as many looks as they can, make sure they get that early lead, which they've had a few times but have blown. And, just not let up. When you've got it, just not let up. Too many times throughout the season we see them kind of relax and not be able to close it out. But, we'd like to see it be wrapped up in Game 5, not a Game 7.
Gotcha. LeBron right now is on fire. The Cavs haven't lost a game in the playoffs. You've watched these Wizards team all year long. If they get past Boston, I know it's a big if, but if they do you think they can compete in a series with the Cavs and even make the finals this year?
They can compete, yes, 100%. We've seen that they were one of the teams that did compete pretty well against the Cavs, even in Cleveland.
Yeah.
They had a really strong game there, and that's been a place where the Cavs have definitely owned. It's always that away game, but the Wizards have done good down the stretch playing away from home. But here's the thing: I've never bet against LeBron. That guy, he single-handedly has, beat the Wizards the time before here at Verizon Center with that ridiculous, falling out of bounds shot.
Amazing.
To win the game, basically. So, can they compete? Yes. Can they win the series and go to the finals? LeBron James, man. I mean, he is arguably, I think, the best player out there. So, and LeBron knows when to turn it on, and this is the time that he does. So I think it'd be a tough task, but I'd expect, more than a sweep, that's for sure.
I think it would be a good series. Julie, as an established broadcaster, you've seen a lot. I'm interested in hearing what your kind of reaction was to seeing all the on-air talent ESPN just let go. Like, should young broadcasters seeing that be worried? Where's the industry going? What's your whole take on all that?
Well, the industry's changing dramatically, and it's changing very quickly as well. You're running into, nowadays, long gone is just the standard cable, just your standard public stations. Everybody has a network, and everybody's trying to fight to how we're consuming news. And no longer are people just sitting in front of the TVs watching a whole half-hour news broadcast. They're getting it on their phone, their iPad, their computer, and then their televisions. So you have to adapt to that of how we're consuming media, and we're consuming it quicker. We're not reading as long of articles. We're not staying for as long as segments. So my advice is to, read up on the trades, the journals, how the business is changing. You can start, your own podcast, your own blogs. I don't know that I want to say discouraging because, again, that goes to, I think, if you have a passion, you find a way to make it work. But you do have to go and understand where the business is going in the next few years, and it's not the traditional path that most of us have taken. And, even us, we're having to adjust to the social media and how that's leading the way. And that's where the mindset is kind of coming first. Social media, streaming, live streaming, and it's only going to grow. So, you just got to find your own way with it, and you got to change with the times. But I don't think people are ever going to go away in this business. So there's always room. It's just where is it?
Last question, I got to ask you, are you going to buy a pair of Lonzo Ball's $495 shoes?
No. No. I said if I'm going to spend that much money on shoes, it'd probably even cost me a little bit more. I want red bottoms. And, I keep asking everyone around here the same thing. To me, it's sickening. I don't have any respect for the dad. I respect what, his son's game and what he's going to do and what he's going to do in the NBA. No doubt, no question, he is going to be a fantastic player. But from my point of view, I would love the dad to exit and let his son shine. The money will come and the selling gear will come, but all of this hoopla and circus around it and, the way that he goes to extremes, it honestly, it's sickening to me and it's sad, and I feel it's taking away from his son's moment. So, the $495 for a pair of shoes, I don't know, someone might pay that for a Jordan, but not yet.
It's crazy. Yet. It's crazy. Julie, this was great. Thank you so much for coming on today on your busy day.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Julie.